Let me take you back to issues about illegal mining and its impact on our water bodies. The Ghana Water Company has threatened to shut down operations in galamsey areas due to the cost of operations. According to them, the cost of purifying water in these areas continues to increase astronomically. Now, behind me, I'm sure you can see an image of the River Ofing in all its glory. Credit to TripAdvisor, that's how it used to be. A clear water body that served as a source of drinking water and food for the people who used to fish in it. But today, it doesn't look like that's the situation. I'll be going to the screen to give you the details of that in terms of what it looks like today. You've seen what it looks like before. This is a River Ofing on your screen. But today, let's look at the satellite image. This is a Google image that we have on the screen now. I'll be taking you to it. Now, take a look at it. This is what River Ofing now looks like. Well, this is the map itself. You see where River Ofing runs through from this. Now, I'll give you the satellite image, and this is what it looks like now. That's a River Ofing. I'll get to it. That's the satellite image. And look at it. All that you see in terms of the creaminess, that's River Ofing now, as it looks like. But earlier, you saw it on your screen, and you saw that it was actually clear. But now, this is what it looks like. You see like a chocolate drink. And that's the status of River Ofing, with the high turbidity levels, amongst others, raising concerns for the Ghana Water Company. So these are the images that we've seen so far in terms of the River Ofing. Well, I'll get to Zoom shortly, and then we'll get to interact with the Ghana Water Company Limited on what exactly their concerns are when it comes to the situation so far. So we've seen River Ofing then and River Ofing now, and this is raising concerns for water production when it comes to the Ghana Water Company Limited. We know that they have concerns about it. So from this image, do you think that the plan by Ghana Water Company Limited is justified? Recently, we brought you a report on pollution of the Ofin River by illegal miners, where change fund operations and activities sit directly on the river at Atrimamponia and the borders of Mankraso in the Ashanti region. Even after recent arrests by Joint Police and Immigration Team, a visit to portions of the water source reveals active pollution of the Ofin River. Now watch this report by Rasa Sasari Donko, then we'll get to speak to the Ghana Water Company.
Over 2,000. This video showing a number of water polluting mining equipment operating on the Ofin centers on a fact-finding mission. We found the location at Abompe, a small village in the Atrimamponia district of Ashanti. Despite a security operation here, a bird's-eye view revealed a number of Shangfan operators working with impunity directly in the river at various portions of the highly polluted resource. So this is the Ofin River. And it will shock you to know that this used to be very, very clean. But now, as in this bottle, you could see the color of the river. Residents like Abeliko Kwame, a farmer at Abesua, are directly affected by the pollution of the river. He tells me they've arrested the illegal miners many times, but did not receive the support of local leaders. We asked for reinforcement from local leaders, the assembly member and the unit committee members before the operation, but they didn't mind us. After we drove them out of Abumpi, Intabanu and other villages, we reported to the DCE of Mankraso and police commander, but they did not assist us. Now they are back, working actively at Abesua number 1 and 2 and Abumpe number 1 and 2. At Kojo Krum, some of the miners polluting the river escaped into the Ofin at the site of our team.
That's Erastus Asare-Donko's report earlier. Now let's take a look at the turbidity level of some water sources before we interact with the Ghana Water Company on its concerns that they've raised, especially about the Ofin River. We know that so far there are some concerns that have been raised. I'll take a look at 2019, for instance, in terms of what water bodies look like and the concerns that have been raised. We'll take a look at it once those slides are ready. So, situation in 2019, for instance, at the height of the galamsey in 2017, the turbidity of water in the Birim River was about 11,000 NTU, and the NTU is the nephelometric turbidity unit and of these water bodies, and that's against the massively improved level of 50 NTU. So this is the situation in 2019. Now it continues with treatment plants in Konongo, Chebi, Bonso, and Yeninem, which were among those heavily affected, were all back in operation. 2019 is what we are talking about now. Now we move on. The situation before the 2020 election. Bonso water treatment plant was shut down intermittently over high levels of raw water turbidity, and that's in 2020. That's before election 2020. That was the situation with these treatment plants. Then the situation before 2020 will stay on it. The turbidity was as high as 8,000 NTU as compared to the normal 3,000 NTU indicated by the Ghana Water Company. So this is our situation in terms of some of the water bodies and its impact on the operation of the Ghana Water Company Limited. Let me then bring in the communications manager but I'm sure we have the last situation. Then we can go on to the phone lines. We have the last situation. So that's about it with the situation when it comes to what we know. Let me bring in the communications manager for the Ghana Water Company Limited, Mr. Stanley Mate, joins us via phone. We are grateful for your time here on Joy News Prime. So first off, what really is the challenge? We are told about a threat to shut down some treatment plants due to these high turbidity levels and the impact of illegal mining on your operations.
Yeah, thank you, Amaka. I think this is a situation that we've been talking about for the past 15 to 20 years. Okay, and now what we realize is that, or what is happening is that the prices of chemicals on the capital market or on the global market is going high. Okay, and now we have the cedi also depreciating against the dollar. Okay, and then we have had to use more chemicals than hitherto would have used for like a certain volume of water. So it is making cost of production high by the day. Now, the pollution of our river body is really having a toll on the operations of the GWCL because we are spending too much and we are not even breaking even because of the low tariff. So if we do not put an end to the pollution of our river bodies, it's going to really, really, really affect us. And the way the situation is now, if we are not careful, we'll be shutting down more of our treatment plants, especially because the turbidity keeps increasing. Now, the normal color or turbidity for any raw material, any raw water should be between 0 and 5 NTU. Now we are exceeding 6,000, we are exceeding 8,000. You can just imagine the quantity of chemicals that we use to clear this water. And if we get to a certain limit, even any quantity of chemical that we use may not be able to treat the water. Okay, which means that we'll render the water untreatable and we'll have to shut down the treatment plant. We have seen this over and over and over again, and it's still increasing. So we really need to step up our game in stopping the pollution of our river bodies, or we have to shut down most of.
And that's a conversation that continues, Mr. Mate. But at the last count, for instance, how many treatment plants are you hoping that you shut down, and how many communities are likely to be affected by this plan, if should it go through?
Now, every treatment plant of ours serves several communities and not just a community. So, for instance, in Accra, we have 3 treatment plants that serve the entire region. Okay, in Ashanti region, we have 2 treatment plants that serve the 3 treatment plants that serve the entire region. So, even if one of the treatment plants should go off, it means that more than 30 or 40% of be without water. If two treatment plants is to go off, then it means it will go beyond 60% of the population. And it is so throughout the country. Now, in the Western region, for instance, it is the water treatment plant on the Pra, which serves the entire Takoradi community. So if that one goes off, it means the whole of Takoradi will be without water. Takwa is served by the treatment plant on the Bonsa River. Now, if that also goes off, then it means that the whole of Takwa will be without water. But that's what in the Ashanti region, okay, serves the entire Boasi region. Now we are only serving about 30% of the Boasi community because we lose about 50 to 60% of the water that we produce from the Daso treatment plant. Okay, so it is not just about one community, but it's just several communities. And then you can imagine, so if you're talking about 30% or 40% of the population that the Daso treatment plant serves, then you can imagine the population that is not being served.
Well, I hope that you would be able to reposition yourself properly so we can hear you well. But I would want to find out the timelines that we've given ourselves in terms of if the situation does not change. You've talked about 3 plants in Accra, 2 in the Ashanti region, giving us the number of treatment plants and the dangers that they are faced with. Do we have a timelines in terms of what you're working with? If the situation does not change, you will shut down.
It is very difficult for me to give you timeline. But if we wake up tomorrow and the stability is beyond a certain limit, we'll shut down tomorrow. If the stability improves, if the raw water quality improves, we'll keep producing. Okay, so anything at all can happen at any time. So if I give timelines now and the water keeps deteriorating, we may not get to that time. So I think it will not be appropriate for me to say maybe from tomorrow or the day after tomorrow or maybe next year or next 2 years. But research has shown that if the rate of pollution should continue the way it is, between 2025 and 2030, most of our river bodies will go extinct. Our treatment plants will be there, and there wouldn't be water to treat. And even if there's water, then the water will be rendered untreatable. So then our treatment plants will be white elephant.
Is it the case that, I'm sure that the Water Company Limited is not working in isolation on this, but is it the case that all the raft of measures that have been put in place to end this illegal mining and its impact on our water bodies is not working?
I think we have seen the minister and deputy minister in charge of land, the minister, our sector minister, Honorable Cecilia Dapa, and then other ministers all go around to as it were, educate people or talk to people about the impact of galamsey. So it's like there are lots of people who are aware of this, and I think the entire nation is aware because even the president is talking about it every time. So everybody, it's a bit difficult for me to say, but at least for what I know, we are doing our best, but it's like our best is not yielding the desired results.
We're grateful. We'll leave it here. That's Mr. Stanley Marty, Communications Manager of the Ghana Water Company Limited. Hopefully, the situation improves, that they may not have to shut down any treatment plant in these communities. Let me bring in the Small Scale Miners Association. We have the General Secretary joining us via Zoom. Mr. Godwin Ama, we're grateful for your time this evening. So what do we choose, gold or water? You'd have to unmute, Mr. Ama. Okay, it appears that the connection to Mr. Ama is simply not working just yet, but we'll try and reach him because they are key in this sector. They are the key stakeholders, and we need to know what exactly the measures they are also putting in place to help this fight against illegal mining and its impact on our water bodies. Because as it stands now, there could be a major threat to treatment of water in this country. And the Ghana Water Company Limited, as we've heard them, they may have to shut down treatment treatment plants in some communities, and a number of communities will be affected as a result. Mr. Ama, let's join you now via phone, and thank you once again. I was asking earlier what we choose, because you are key stakeholders. We've heard Water Company Limited, the concerns they've raised. Water is important. And so I ask you whether you would choose gold over water.
Okay, thank you and good evening. I would say I would choose gold, because we need water. Water is life. And we also need the gold in terms of creating job opportunities for our people, and also to ensure that the country also benefits from gold economically. We need gold for so many things. For us to use our mobile phones, we need gold. In the medical fields, we need gold for some equipment. Even to use aviation, we still need gold. And we also use gold to back our currencies. So all is very important.
But I've never heard the saying that gold is life. I've heard water is life. What exactly are we doing about this situation? Because we face a potential threat of shutdown of treatment plants in these areas. You also need water. We need water as much as we need the gold, like you've said. Are there measures, concrete measures, as a key stakeholder, you're putting in place to stop this situation?
As I speak to you now, we have our both as an association with our task force around Mankraso area on the River of Fin for the past week with some of the district assemblies. So far, we've been able to get about 400 of the chamfans from the river bodies. What I would say is that most of the communities are harboring these people. We have Odikrus, we have chiefs, we have elders in these communities. And they allow them to stay in their community and pollute their water. So it's a shared responsibility, because we all need water. We need water for our daily chores. We need water for our farms. And we need water to also drink and use them to cook and all that. The miners themselves, if we have high turbidity levels, we can't even produce our gold properly. Because if the turbidity level is so high, you will not be able to recover the gold. And the amount of money you put into your operations, at the end of the day, you don't make anything out of it. That is why we all need to work together and ensure that people don't pollute our water bodies. These are all illegal operators who are operating on the river bodies. Number two, the equipment that are being used and its manufacturing, as the law says, if you see someone transporting these dredges and all that, they should be arrested, and then this equipment should be seized. So the issue of enforcement is also a challenge. The issue of enforcement of our laws is also a challenge. But I'm happy that the government so far brought in some speedboats. We have the Ghana Navy, and they are patrolling some of these the rivers in the country. We as an association are also collaborating with them to ensure that, because now we've got outboard motors, we've got some boats, and we are patrolling some of these rivers. I was around the Kumenza area today, which I saw some of the river at the upstream of Fin. That side is so clear, but we just drove 15 to 20 minutes, and it's so wet downstream. So the activities of these illegal dredges are so much. And as I've said, we are going to work closely with the district assemblies and then the security service to ensure that these people, we take them off. Some of the laws also that for me, with the chamfa importation, governments will also look at it. Because if you are able to take the chamfa off, and we are able to take the gravel structures off, at the end of the day, we'll be able to reduce the number of boats there. So if the importation of this chamfa equipment will be reduced, or there will be a system where you bring the chamfa equipment into the country, it will be stored somewhere. Then at the end of the day, if you want to use it for any other, because it's something that you can use it for so many things. The engine can be used to generate light and all that. So if it's in a warehouse, then you go in and buy, and we know where you are taking it. It will reduce people from using it. We should find a way of reducing this equipment coming into the country.
Are these suggestions that you've put forward to the task force, the operation teams, amongst others, and how come it's not being implemented?
No, these are things that we proposed. For example, the transportation, manufacturing, and use of chamfa has been criminalized now. If you look at the Minerals Amendment, anyone who transports it and all that, we suggested, and then it has been accepted. It has passed in Parliament and all that. But its enforcement is where we have a challenge. And I said this is a shared responsibility for all of us. Because if you're in the community and you rent you give these people accommodation, some chiefs are taking money from them. Some police will go there, police officers will go in, and what they care for is just taking money from these people and then encouraging them to apply their trade on the river body. We should know that it will affect us all. It will affect everybody in this country.
And it's already affecting us, at least. We've seen the impact. Godwin, we are grateful. That's Godwin Ama, General Secretary, the Small Scale Miners Association. This is Joy News Prime. Still to come, commuters and residents along the Ashaiman-Afienya Highway are growing impatient over the neglect of the road, even after the president promised to convert it into an ultra-modern road in 2020.
And he'll come and ask you to go and pay roadworthiness. What does it mean when the road itself is not worthy?
So you should pay for Menkase Palo Godia. Ever seen? Esa papa, esa basa. Kochi, because your purpose, your purpose more.